just.
Hello, and we are live. Sorry, Chris, I just cut you off before.
No, I've got it just here now. I was just waiting for it. And just as it flashed live just before you said it, so I was like, he's going to cut me off in a minute.
I cut you off. Anyway, so hello, welcome to episode 26 of Talkin Tech, VR, Google, and a whole lot of hacking. I am Dom, your host, and this week I have Chris and Kurt joining me. Say hello, guys.
Hello, guys.
Hello.
For fuck's sake, Chris, I'm going to stop introducing you if we're going to do that every week.
I do it every week. I just sit on it a little bit.
Pretty much every week at this point. So, a fair amount of stuff has happened this week. We took last week off because the MobileTechTalk guys decided to reschedule theirs for Monday. And even though it would be at different times, I didn't feel all that great having two podcasts in one day. I didn't think that was all that good for listeners. So, I decided to give everyone the week off. Because as media director, that is the power I have, and I'm very happy with that power. So, should we just start this off?
Yeah, sure. Let's just talk rubbish for an hour. Let's do it.
I mean, that's pretty much what this podcast is anyway. If anyone's listened to all 25 episodes before,
well, me and Mark managed to do it between us.
Exactly. So, Chris, do you want to start this off?
Yeah. So, little minor thing, not really anything big, but. In the Play Store,
I don't know.
Google...
It could be a big thing if you've got a device with like a really low amount of storage.
Yeah, I just go into the settings to do that, but nah. I can see why people prefer to go to the Play Store, but no. Google's adding to the Play Store a little toggle that just says "Show installed apps," and what it's basically going to do is just show your installed apps. That's basically it. I think iOS had that feature for a long time. Correct me, Kurt.
It did. I think it's had it for a while actually. That
I think
feature.
it's still got it, but I've not used iOS since that iPad Air 2. So
right. It's had it for a short while. Yeah.
Yeah, I know it was on some iOS 6. I think I had it on. But no, that's pretty much it. So useful, possibly. Does it bother me? No. Don't know about you.
It's one of those things. Like I said, if you've got a device with like an absurdly low amount of storage, like I've got an 8GB Nexus 4 upstairs, which is essentially used as a mini tablet / alarm clock at this point.
I was going to say the Vodafone Smart First 7 had only 4 gigs of RAM, 4 gigabytes in it, but it was 25 quid.
Yeah, so that's the thing, that there are devices with extremely low amounts of storage, and for them, like having something, I don't want to say self-aware because it's not self-aware, but having a feature built in that pops up what apps can be uninstalled, and I assume that it's going to get smarter, so it's going to, like the next bit does, it's going to say like you haven't used eBay in 2 months. Do you want to uninstall eBay? Like it's going to start doing stuff like that after not too long, which gets quite interesting for me, I think.
Yeah, so no,
maybe it's just me. I mean, like I said, it's for us. It's probably not all that interesting because we know where to go to uninstall apps. A lot of people don't. Just this last week, I had my mum say, "It's not letting me update apps. It says I've not got any storage." Like she just hands the phone to me. Like that's a genuine thing that happens, and I can't be the only person that happens to.
I find it quite convenient actually. Just looking at the article for the show installed apps thing, it seems the toggle, if you turn it on and off, it'll add or subtract the apps you've already got installed. So if you're in the top 3 apps section, and it showing your installed apps, you're just going to be sifting through apps you've already installed. But if you turn that toggle off, it gets rid of your installed apps, so it just shows the apps you haven't installed yet. Which is super convenient in that regard, really. Very convenient.
If you're like me that has a gazillion apps installed, and then like my purchase and all the apps is just so long, I tried, like, do either of you go through, like, if you go into a Play Store, go to My Apps and Games and go along to all, do either of you go through there and like purge ones you know you're not going to use ever again, like just delete them?
No, I just look at it. I just go back and look at it. Like, just like see what I was using and...
Like maybe once a quarter or so, I'll go through. Oh, it sounds so businessy. Once a quarter, like once every 3 months or so, I'll go through, and I'll just delete ones I know I'm not going to use anymore.
It's just a very monotonous task doing that, though, isn't it? Selecting them individually.
Monotonous.
You can select multiple ones, but you can. still a lot of work to do just to remove your apps. Well, but you're not going to use.
But it's just like another thing is because I test so many devices. If I go to the web portal of the Play Store to install apps, there are so many devices that I don't even own anymore.
Oh, mine's an endless list at the minute.
I cheat. I rename mine and stop them displaying.
Oh
So
yeah,
if
I need to go in there and just like hide some that I don't have anymore.
I've got
or ones that I have
few.
that I'm not turning on for a while.
I had a look and I renamed mine Review, and then whatever the phone was. So I think I renamed the HTC A9 and I had it to Review A9. You just look down my list, and the majority of the keywords is just review. You see like the M8 and the 6P and the M7. You see them in there. You're like, oh, and it's just review. I'm like, ah.
Therein lies the problem of being a tech reviewer.
Why can't we just
also if you use Google Play Music like I do, when you're using a review device, you can't like sign into it.
That's why you use Spotify. And
I've had that issue for a while on Google Play Music. You have to ring Google to sort of get them to remove them.
They'll only let you do it once.
Only once. So what if you do it again? Do they not just let you remove them ever again, sort of thing, with devices?
No, like they give you 10 devices a year, and you can only deauthorize 4 of them a year.
I can't understand
that. You can call them up and say, look, delete everything on my list and let me start again, but they'll only let you do that once.
It's just quite a big plot hole in that, really, isn't it?
It's a fucking asinine thing to do. There is literally not a single reason there should be a deauthorization limit. Give me an authorization limit all day. I understand that. Let me limit it to 1 device per time. I get that. But deauthorization is stupid. You won't let me get rid of things.
It is ridiculous. Imagine Spotify doing that. Or,
yeah, it's like you could even limit me to 4 devices to add a month, and I'd be fine with that. Like, there has probably been about 4 devices across my desk this month. Like, I get that. But to get me for a year is completely asinine.
It is a very ridiculous. I'm not sure what Google were thinking about this, really. I mean, it doesn't, even if it comes to the consumer may own, 2 or 3 devices at most, but still, I mean, that's almost hitting the limit there, Or
yeah, I mean, I get this is like almost exclusively a tech reviewer problem. I get that.
But there's a lot of us out there. You got to remember.
There are a lot of, and guess what? A lot of tech reviewers probably use Google products.
Yeah.
Because Google Play Music is actually great.
It is.
I've done the trial.
It gives you it does it's like 30 million tracks. It has really good auto-generated playlists. It also gives you 50,000 songs in the locker. That is great.
That's one thing I did like about when I was using trial. The fact it recommended quite a good good mix of stuff. Where Spotify, I don't even look at the recommendations.
Yeah, it does some really great stuff, and then it just gives you like the sucker punch of like, oh, by the way, you can only get rid of 4 things a year.
Which will probably explain why I don't pay for Spotify and I use the free version.
Yeah, but I mean, it's like I have like a small-ish music archive of about 8 or 9 gigs. I say small-ish. It's a relatively small music archive.
It's small compared to Mark's.
Yeah,
put
Mark's
it that way.
almost like a terabyte. Mark doesn't count. But no, I've got a relatively small music archive of about 8 or so gigs. So if I'm using a review device I know I'm not going to get to keep, I'll just like throw those on there. But still, it's so inconvenient. Like, have you ever tried transferring 8 gigs of music over USB 2? It takes forever.
That would take forever, yeah.
Yeah, it does. I can almost guarantee you this does. 'Cause I had to do it last week.
That's why you leave it there and just walk away.
I don't think you understand how much work I've got to do on my computer, Chris.
Then find some other cheap little thing and just use that.
Use your Nexus 4, your mini tablet.
Yeah.
You guys are literally the worst. You're the best, but you're the worst. Do you want to speak about this next thing then, Chris, or should me speak about it?
I'll let you speak about this because you're the Chromebook nerd.
Yeah, okay. I'll take that. Like, why not? Chromebooks are like pretty great. So there was a for those of you that don't know, Chromebooks have this feature called Seamless Update, which Google's actually also bringing to phones. So basically what it is, in the system partition, there is actually 2 system images, one of which I believe cannot be modified. I could be wrong about that. I mean, it obviously has to be modified to be able to update, but
I was going to say
it can't be externally modified by like system controls and stuff. It has to be booted up, and you have to do like terminal with sudo commands and all that. So it has two system partitions. So you'll use system partition 1, and when there's an update available for Chrome OS, it will silently download it in the background and apply it to system partition 2.
a bit like Windows 10 is at the minute.
No, completely different how Windows 10
Well,
is.
no, it's downloading it without you knowing, and then all of a sudden it's installing it without you knowing.
Windows 10 doesn't install it without you knowing, and it also doesn't download all of it without you knowing. It downloads parts of it, but not all of it.
I know
Chrome OS does what's called Delta updates, which means it only downloads the new bits, checks this security key, makes sure everything's safe, and then the next time you reboot the laptop, which actually just happened to me today, it swaps over the system partitions to the one with the new version of Chrome OS, and then boots up using that. So the second partition is now the main partition until the new update comes.
So it's kind of interchangeable each time when you get an update. It goes from partition 1 to partition 2 each time you get an update. Yeah. Okay.
So it always has one spare for when the update comes.
Smart.
Yeah, and it is. It really does work great. I don't think. I mean, I've had this Chromebook since November.
That's one thing I want to get into.
And I don't think I've ever gone into settings to search for an update.
That's one thing I want to get into Chromebooks.
Because it just does it.
I might, if I get a desktop, I might try, what's the one I'm looking for? Neverware. Might try that with a laptop. Or I might just stick Linux on it. Just because I actually enjoyed using Linux on the NC10.
If you kind of want like a cheap way of getting into it, there is a version of Chromium OS for the Raspberry Pi 3, and the Pi 3 is only 35 quid.
I have thought about that as well.
And it actually does run quite well. I just thought of something else I can add to this rundown, which I'll talk about at the end. But no, so sorry, Chris. What this news story here, when we're reading one from Android Authority, is about is this update system is not foolproof, and on certain Chromebooks they've had to disable it. Not all of them, on certain ones. So if you've got a Lenovo N22 11.6, Acer Chromebook R11, Sanance/Chromebook 14, I don't know which one that is, the Asus Chromebook C300 SA, and the Lenovo ThinkPad 11e Chromebook. This essentially like disables auto updates from those for the moment.
I'd say the Chromebook I do like the look of, and it's not the one from Google that's like $1,000.
Well, you're wrong, because that is like...
That is nice, but that doesn't interest me.
Is it the Dell one? Is it the Dell one?
No,
is it the Asus Flip?
It's the Asus Flip.
See one in person, your view will change completely.
Yeah, probably, but as you look at the website, that is... the price is, I think it's one of the dearest as well.
Yeah. It's one of the cheapest ones. It's only about 250 quid.
The cheapest one is the Acer Chromebook 11.
Yeah, no, that's the one I've got. But the Flip is only about 250, which makes it one of the cheapest.
Yes. So that
I think the cheapest Chromebook, not like Chromebit, the Chromebook that's the cheapest. There's like $150 one in the States. Brand new from Hisense. But no, the Chromebit is like 90 quid, which I'm genuinely surprised that's not gone down in price at all. I mean, I understand there's like very little margin for it to go down in price, but still, like you'd think it'd go down like maybe 10 quid, like 6 months after release.
Yes, just to try and push it even more.
Yeah. I mean, Kurt, do you have anything to say on this? I mean, I don't know if you have any experience with Chrome OS or anything like that.
I know of Chrome OS and I know of the sort of the hardware, and I sort of keep in touch with the hardware of Chromium and Chrome OS
Yeah.
and stuff like that. But it's I've never really had the fascination of using one. I've always had the sort of belief that it's not like a netbook in a way where it just runs like a very slim OS with a web browser, and that's about as much as you're going to get from one. But with Google Chrome, you can get applications for it within Google Chrome, like Google Docs.
TeamViewer.
Yeah.
You mean you can get even others? Like I use. I mean, if I just open up my I've got my Chromebook here. I've got a whole load of applications. I think I've got a Game Boy emulator on here for when I'm bored at work. I think I have a drum synthesizer. For obvious reasons. I mean, why wouldn't you have a drum synthesizer? Let's have a look.
Those bored times at work.
Yeah, I've got Plants vs Zombies. I've got a writing app. I've got a teleprompter, AirDroid.
Have you got just curiosity?
VLC. I've got VLC on here. I've got a torrenting app, even though I've never torrented on this thing before. A couple of video editors.
Have you got Android apps on there yet?
No, only because the ones I tested were so bad that I deleted them all. Actually, no. I think VLC might be an Android app port, but it was available through the Chrome store. I haven't done like the whole what they announced at Google I/O.
Yeah, no, that's the one I was on about.
Because those are on the developer channel, and I'm on the beta channel.
So can you download like third-party sort of applications for, like, if you want to download from a third-party website and install a third-party application on the?
No, it has to be available through the. So the first party, say like if I wanted Photoshop, Adobe would have to say to Google, "Can we put this in the Chrome store?" Google would obviously say yes because it's Adobe, and then I could download it.
That's a pretty decent idea. It stops obviously viruses and anything else like that getting into the system. So.
Yeah. And like I said, the way the Chromebook Secure System Image works is if anything is tampered, because you can't modify the system images, as soon as it's rebooted, everything that happens is wiped clean. So it can't, unless you're in like developer mode, which means everything is unlocked, which it gives you a massive warning whenever you turn the device on if it's in developer mode.
Nice.
It's like, it gives you like a super scary warning, like if you put it in developer mode every time you turn on. It's like, by the way, you could fuck shit up in this mode. Just press space D, exit, and Alt F4 at the same time to turn it off. But no, yeah, I do genuinely love Chromebooks. I might buy another Raspberry Pi 3 just to try Chrome OS on for like a week or so.
Won't you buy another SD card?
No, because I have a Pi 3 and it's the media center in my bedroom, and it is like genuinely great. But in the office, I've got a Pi 2, and the Pi 2 is just way too slow.
I was going to say, why don't you just buy an SD card?
I mean, I've got a Pi 0 here, which is also a media center, which is going in the living room, I think. Yeah, living room.
Just buy an SD card, stick the Chromium
I think at this
on
point I
it,
just
and then
have too many
hotspot.
Raspberry Pis.
Like, obviously when it's turned off, but just swap the SD cards around. That way you've not going through the hassle of reformatting it.
Because I don't want to have Chrome OS on a 40-inch TV.
You're only going to try.
Especially from like, God, how far away from my bed is my TV is my bed? God, like, I don't want to like fucking use Chrome OS from 15 feet away.
Yeah, you can play Pokemon
on your Game Boy emulator.
Guys, you don't understand. I have like a 90-inch projector on this side of the wall. I play Pokemon at 90 inches. It doesn't like. Don't worry, I got this.
Okay, right. We believe you. We believe you. Right.
That's actually what this is being used for. I reformatted this card to run OSMC because RetroPie, which is the emulator I was using, was kind of wigging out. But anyway, slightly less than legal activities. Let's speak about the next thing. So there are multiple things. So Google has something called Smart Lock, which on phones means you can unlock your phone or tablet based on various things. So I've got it set on all of my phones. If it's connected to my watch, if I'm at home, if it's in my pocket, or if it hears my voice, it is always unlocked. I can forcefully lock it if I want to, but if it notices any of those things, it will say unlocked, which is great. They also offer that on Chromebooks, which is if your Chromebook is in the vicinity of your phone, it won't have a password on, which is great. And if I'm correct, there may also be a version of this available for iOS and OS X, wherein Apple lets you unlock your Mac with your iPhone, I think. Kurt, correct me if I'm wrong. Could you use a MacBook and an iPhone?
Say that again, sorry.
Does Apple let you unlock your MacBook with your iPhone, like if it's in proximity, or am I making that up?
Are you making that up? Because I don't think that's true.
There was something, I think they were working on it.
I think there was a third-party app that allowed it. But
It
anyway,
probably was, yeah.
Microsoft is trying to do pretty much the same thing with Windows, letting you unlock Windows 10 with wearables. So, Chris, do you want to speak about this next one?
Yeah, so I've not looked too much into it because it...
How have you not looked too much into this? You put this rundown together.
Yeah, I had a brief look. I was doing other stuff at the same time, so I just...
Palm.
This title looks good. Let's add this. This is how every journalist in San Francisco works. That's a good title. Let's go with that.
Yeah. So from the way I understand it, obviously you have Windows Hello, which does allow you to use your iris, I believe it is, and your fingerprint. I know it's fingerprint. There is a company making third-party accessories, so if you don't have any of these in your laptop or desktop, you can buy them, and they will work by default. But there is talk of being able to use the Microsoft Band, which is Microsoft's smart watch, if you want to call it that. Would that be the right name to use?
It's pretty much Microsoft's version of Smart Lock.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just an extension of Windows Hello.
Yeah.
And the Microsoft Passport is another thing they call it. It's just like another extension of that. So if you have something like the Microsoft Band, which is kind of their smartwatch / fitness tracker type thing, if you've got that connected to your phone and your phone knows it's near your computer will just say well, obviously this is a trusted person, let's stay unlocked.
Yeah.
Which pretty much works in the exact same way as Chrome Smart Unlock does. It's a really cool feature. When I don't have it, it's really weird. So I have a super long password, and I got really used to typing it in every time. And then once I set up Smart Lock, I was like, "This is the best."
Oh, you don't have.
And then my current review phone doesn't let me use it for whatever reason, and it's like I fucking hate this long password.
Oh, you mean at least you don't have the painstakingly hassle of having to use a keyboard where it has the at and speech marks actually labelled on the keys, but they're actually flipped the other way around.
Oh, so you've got it set into the American version?
No, because it's fine on the laptop just as soon as you plug this keyboard in.
Yeah, no, the keyboard is in US English, not UK English.
I'm sure I checked that.
On the keyboard, where is the at key on top of the...
It's all where it should be. That is the weird thing. Everything is...
Oh, how strange. So it's where it should be, but the...
So at key is
in the right place.
Yeah, it's all in the right place, but it's just software side. It's
picking up as US English. That is super strange.
Yes.
Wow,
that
is really annoying.
I say US English, also just like Mac English, because in the UK Macs still have it in the wrong place.
They do.
It's not annoying. You kind of get used to it, but people were obviously where I picked this keyboard up from. People were making accounts, and they thought they were pressing the at key. So I used to get a big kick off of watching people go, "Oh, it ain't working." I went, "Because you want that one." They went, "Why do I want that one?" Because the idiot that built this keyboard seems. But you press 2 and the apostrophe, that bit works fine. It's just when you hit shift, then it's.
Yeah, no, that's US English.
It's just a bit freaky, but.
Yeah. So this whole Windows Hello proximity unlock stuff is actually super cool. I kind of wish you guys had a Chromebook to test this on because it is so useful. And I said I'm currently reviewing the Oppo F1 Plus, and for whatever reason this won't let me use Smart Unlock on my Chromebook, and I utterly hate my long password.
Well, you know the solution, don't you?
To have a weaker password? I don't know.
I was going to say make it slightly shorter, but try and still keep it strong.
I think my password is 21 characters.
That is so secure.
I'm sure you
It's
could
like
get
it's,
it down
it's,
to
it's
15 and still be
uppercase,
secure.
lowercase, and special characters. Like it is a hardcore password. Anyway, let's just move on. It's getting super strange. Kurt, do you want to speak about this next one? This is Samsung Pay starting in Europe.
Ah, yes. So Samsung Pay, as we all know, ever so popular. Well, it will be popular when it comes out in like mainland Europe and things like that. It's coming
Once it comes out in more than one country.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So its first like testing sort of areas is going to be in Spain, which is for its European market, which are kind of getting away. It's sort of, I mean, Spain isn't a small place, but it's sort of small, one of the smallish sort of European parts where you can just sort
Yeah,
of
it's one
test
of
it
the
out a
smallest
little
European
bit.
territories.
Yeah, so it's probably just a best place to test sort of Samsung Pay out in a smaller vicinity before sort of unleashing it to the world, I guess, in a way. So it seems like it's going to be, hopefully after this testing period is done and there's no issues what arise and on the server side and things like that, they'll probably announce it in like mainland Europe areas, maybe the UK for testing or something like that. Because
The only
UK
problem
is
is
the
you've
biggest.
got to have a Samsung phone.
Well, yeah, but Apple Pay needs an Apple phone.
Yeah, but most people will have an
Um,
iPhone because they want the Apple software. But
Thing is-
you know there's just going to be people getting Samsung Pay confused of it has to be a Samsung phone.
I think Samsung are sort of one of those.
I don't think so. Like people know Samsung Pay needs a Samsung phone.
You'd
Yeah.
be surprised.
I think like me and Kurt were saying a little while ago, that not on this podcast but in the Slack chat, most people don't realize that Google owns Android. People think Samsung owns Android.
And for
So
good
I
reason,
think people will be confused that they can use Android Pay on their Samsung phone rather than they can't use Samsung Pay on their normal phone.
I think Samsung are such a big entity in the Android world, but they can get away with making their own service for payment reasons. I mean, they can get away with it, and they get as many customers as Android Pay. You think about it, because in sort of normal terms, people as Android, people use Samsung phones more than they do HTC or LG. So,
without a shadow of a doubt.
yeah, so people will probably go running to Samsung Pay because that's the default option, and
It
it's
will
actually
likely be pre-installed on their phone as well.
it will be pre-installed. I think it is, but it was installed on the US version of the Galaxy S7 Samsung.
I think it was on the US version of the Galaxy S6 as well.
Yeah, and it's like it's got a really annoying tab at the bottom on the lock screen that says Samsung Pay as well. So you have to swipe the tab up, and it's you know it's.
I get that from like a user experience perspective. Like, oh, I don't know how to launch Android Pay. Sorry, I don't know how to launch Samsung Pay. But oh, look, there's a tab at the bottom of my screen. Like, I get that. And if it kind of goes away after a couple of uses, like if you use the Google Now launcher, it says "Say OK Google," and after a few times of saying it, it no longer says that.
Yeah.
If this like swipe up for a Samsung Pay disappears after a couple of uses, I'm fine with it.
Yeah, I'm fine with it as well. I'm pretty sure Samsung are pretty clocked in on that, to be honest with you. I mean, they're not a dumb company after all, really. They've made so much money, you know, they can buy a country, I'm sure.
They make so much money.
But you know what I mean.
The funny thing is, they make so much money in the Android space compared to Apple. They make nothing,
Oh yeah, Apple makes.
which is just
tons.
hilarious to me.
Yeah. It's amazing that Apple only make like one set of smartphones and it's not open to third-party suppliers, but they still make so much more money than any other tech company out there.
Yep.
It's amazing how much marketing went into that and how much they really did prove themselves to be the best at sort of marketing. Because Apple, well, not anymore, I wouldn't think. Apple sort of gone down a little bit in terms of their marketing. It's not as good with their adverts. So sort of.
Yeah, no, I actually 100% agree that for a while there would be a time when I'm like, oh no, that is a definitely Apple advert.
But now it's sort of a generic sort of feeling. It's like you don't know it's an Apple advert until you see the font, maybe. Because
Yeah.
Apple's font is very.
It's like I've definitely been confused at a Samsung advert and an Apple advert recently.
Yeah, and which I'm not sure if
Which
that's
is never
because,
which is never something I thought I'd say.
Is that because Samsung are trying to play Apple's game, or is that Apple trying to play Samsung's game? You just don't know.
I think Samsung has gotten so good at playing Apple's game, and Apple has given up trying to change their game.
That's probably true. Actually, I agree with that one. Yeah, I agree.
So Samsung Pay is obviously the whole, not only NFC payments, but the MST, so magnetic stripe transaction or stripe transaction.
Yeah, that's the only service to use it as well, isn't it? That's
Yes,
the
because
MST.
there was a startup company called Loop Pay which developed the MST technology, and Samsung bought them. Honestly, I wish Google would have bought them, But it probably makes more sense for Samsung to have bought them because Samsung is going to sell way more phones with MST chips than Google will sell Nexus devices with MST chips.
I tell you what I did find cool about Samsung Pay is a while ago they showed off cash machines with the Samsung Pay receivers in them.
Mm-hmm.
So you could actually take your phone to a cash point, scan it, and then withdraw the money.
Yeah, I think there are cash points that are doing that with NFC soon. So you can for Android Pay, so you can tap your phone there. It'll ask you to put your PIN in, and then it will let you take out a certain amount.
Yeah, that seems cool.
I mean, in the UK, it's kind of different because we can only use contactless for 30 quid's worth of payments. But like we were saying last week or week before, how often are you going to be spending more than 30 quid that you can't take your wallet out of your pocket?
I'll say it this way: my bike takes £6 maximum. I've put in that thing since I've had it, and it takes.
You mean £6 maximum per time you fill it up?
Per time I fill it up.
Not like since you've got it to now, £6.
Wow, that's a good fuel economy.
That's very good fuel economy.
If it's like flat dead, slapped out empty, it does take like a tenner, but even then you're squeezing that £10 in.
I'm just kind of imagining you trying to physically squeeze petrol into this. It's like, oh no, it's going everywhere.
I'll put it this way: one of the jobs I was doing was a forecourt attendant, and my job was to put petrol and diesel in cars.
I didn't think we even had those in the UK.
Yeah, we have those.
I just thought that was something that happened in the deep south of America where they didn't take.
No, we have them. I was actually forecourt cleaner, so I cleaned the forecourt, but I was doing these shifts whilst one staff was off ill, and the other one was always having days off because he was working all 7 days at 8 hours a day. But no, that's a really nice, easy job. 8 to 9 hours a day, and all you're doing is putting petrol and diesel in cars. And if people don't want it, so what? You're getting paid to stand around and do nothing.
That's pretty much how I feel most days as a TA. If there are no students that I get that I'm able to help, I literally just sit in the staff room all day reading news, which is great.
Playing Game Boy emulators and stuff like that. Yeah.
No, I can't. I actually can't. I got caught at work doing that, so I just pretty much get to read news.
You got caught? How did you? Wow.
Well, my boss, she's also quite into Pokemon, so she knew what the sound was of Pokemon. Which Pokemon was it?
Here's
Pokemon
a question
Ruby.
for you. Why the hell were you playing Pokemon with your sound on?
Have you never heard it? That's a great sound.
I've heard the sounds, and it's not my game, but I'll admit the sound does sound very nice. But if it was me and I was in that situation, I'd either A, have earphones in, or B, turn the sound off.
No, because everyone in my office just has shit on anyway, and there's loads of us in the office, so I didn't think she'd be able to hear it. I'll be honest, it's my fault. Still,
you had the sound on. That's where it went wrong.
But everyone had someone was watching EastEnders on BBC iPlayer. How did I get caught?
Yeah, true. I'll probably tell them off for watching EastEnders, to be honest, not the other way around.
Especially if they were a Pokemon fan.
Yeah, come on. You've got to get them Pokemon master points.
Got to collect them all.
Yeah, catch them all. Yeah.
Catch them, collect them.
You're literally all the worst. You're not helping me here.
You love us really.
Oh, I love all of you, but I also hate all of you. So, moving on to a slightly different mobile payment system. Do you want to speak about this next one, Kurt?
Yeah, so the KFC one, yeah?
Yeah.
So, to take it to a different note, although it's not really a different note, it's sort of Android Pay and Samsung Pay. KFC have sort of endorsed the sort of mobile payment systems, so they've brought it into their restaurants in the UK, I believe, is it?
It's US, I believe.
US is
at the
it?
minute.
Right, the US at the minute, right, okay, yeah.
So it's going to be quickly followed, considering that Android Pay is already in the UK. I think it's just going to be a case of a quick update here and there, and bang, Bob's your uncle.
So this is where...
Depends how much they hate us or not.
This is where it's going to get sort of confusing for me, is obviously when you sort of have NFC payment systems, you see if obviously we're both in the UK, all three of us are in the UK, should I say, you see if you go into Burger King or McDonald's, you see that you've got an Apple Pay sticker on there. So if they're going to add Samsung Pay and Android Pay stickers, it's going to get ultimately confusing for the consumer. I think it's like, well, what are all these free things, and why do I need to use them, sort of thing. See, it sort of makes sense for the Samsung Pay and Apple Pay debacle because it says it on the tin. You know, if you've got a Samsung device, you can use Samsung Pay. Setting it up is a different matter, but you know, people know what it is. The Samsung Pay and Android Pay situation is people are going to get confused between the two. It's like, what do I need to use for this situation? So I think it goes back to the issue of Android Pay getting sort of forgotten about compared to like Samsung Pay, because Samsung, let's be honest, Samsung are the king of Android right now. So
without a shadow of a doubt.
yeah,
I think
so
they've always been known as the king of Android. If you say Android to somebody, what's the first word that they come out with? Samsung.
it's Samsung, isn't it? So yeah.
Since 2010 onwards, I'd say for the first like 2 years of Android, it was HTC.
Yeah.
Like very heavily HTC. Like the first couple of Samsung Android phones sucked hard.
Well, the Galaxy S1 was an awful product. I
No,
hated
no,
it.
like compared to their previous phones, the S1 was amazing. Like I'm saying before the S1, the original Galaxy, which was not a Galaxy S device, the original Galaxy sucked. It had like 7 buttons on the front of it and this tiny screen.
We all know Dom's feelings towards buttons on a phone.
I hate buttons. Like I will carry on shouting it from the rooftops. I hate buttons.
Next thing you're going to tell us you want a touch-sensitive lock button and volume rocker.
Don't. I remember like designing a phone like, a couple of years ago that had that, and I was like, this is the fucking shit. And I like.
And they're all fingerprint scanners as well. So no matter what you do, you could unlock your phone.
Yeah. Don't worry, Chris. I got this. So yeah, no. Have either of you used Android Pay yet?
I can't because I don't have an Android device currently.
Didn't you have a Nexus 6P at one point?
Yeah, but I'm a phone hobo, so I get rid of them quickly.
Ah.
So one of the good things about Android Pay is if you've got something registered in your Android Pay wallet, as it were. Say I've got my Sainsbury's Nectar card and my Tesco's Club Card points. It uses proximity to like it knows you're in a Tesco, so it will send you a notification saying, "Oh, by the way, you can use your loyalty card here at the till," which is super useful. Yeah. Should we speak about this next one?
This is what I get when I try and use Android Pay.
Yeah, it's because your bank is shit.
Sod you, NatWest.
Yeah.
Other than that, retweets I'm getting over when I put that Mickey Mouse GIF on, saying I wish NatWest would hurry up and support Android Pay is quite surprising.
Mm.
Like I was expecting it, just get a, we're planning it in the future, which is what I got, but I was not expecting people to retweet it. Like these are people I don't even know as well. I'm like, how did you find this? Please. This is like a month afterwards. I'm like, how did you find this?
So, speaking about this next one, I'll kind of speak about this one because it's quite interesting to me on a technical level. So, Apple has what's called the Thunderbolt Display, which is an external display that is primarily connected over their Thunderbolt or Intel's Thunderbolt protocol. Now, Apple released the 5K iMac, I think it was 2 years ago now. 2 years ago at this point, and everyone kind of thought like, well, they're obviously releasing a 5K Retina display or a 5K Thunderbolt display soon. Little did they know, it's pretty much impossible to do 5K Thunderbolt display on a single Thunderbolt cable due to bandwidth restrictions. You can do it because Dell has a 5K display that uses 2 mini DisplayPort connectors. Obviously, that's far too janky for Apple to want to use, and the way they get around it in the custom 5K iMac is they designed the controller themselves to essentially go outside of the DisplayPort limitations. Because it's only going to be using their one thing, it doesn't really matter that it goes outside of the specification. So, with the 5K Thunderbolt display, the rumor is it might have its own GPU in it, in a similar way to Razer's Core,
Yes.
which would then connect to the laptop over Thunderbolt 3/USB-C, which means you plug in your 5K iMac you'd get a 5K display. You'd also get a beefier GPU to run that display, which makes sense. Like the current version of DisplayPort that is shipping on everything is DisplayPort 1.2a. It can do 4K 60. It can't do 5K 60. DisplayPort, I think it's 1.3, can do 5K 60, and DisplayPort 1.4 can do 8K 60 or 4K 120. It's all a lot of numbers, but this is kind of what I expected Apple to do, but I also because they aren't going to change Thunderbolt so soon, because as far as I know, the way USB-C does does DisplayPort is through what's called a DisplayPort alternate mode. There is no current DisplayPort alternate mode for 1.3 or 1.4. So there is no way for them to do Thunderbolt 3 at anything higher than DisplayPort 1.2, which means they can't do anything higher than 4K at 60 Hz.
So they have to make their own, pretty much. So
they either have to make their own or do this.
Right.
And the likelihood is they're going to do this because they get to...
Yes, really?
No,
I mean,
it wouldn't be cheaper. They get to charge you more for it. They get to bring the prestige back to the Retina display or the Thunderbolt display, because the Thunderbolt only is it's a display with very, very accurate colors and a hub built in, because it connects over Thunderbolt. It does data, power, and data and power and display. So you can do all that over Thunderbolt. You can also do external GPUs. So you could have Thunderbolt 3 from your Retina MacBook Pro into your 5K Thunderbolt display. And into your Thunderbolt display, you could have your Thunderbolt SSD, and you can have like your audio stuff. So you're charging your laptop whilst you're sending data and visuals over, and like it makes total sense. And they get to charge you more for it because they're adding what they might call a graphics accelerator into your display. I can already like see some of the stuff they're going to try and market this for if this is true. Like it makes sense to me, and like I can totally see this happening.
You probably will. Let's be honest.
Just so they can charge even more.
Yeah, like I'm not going to say that the only thing Apple exists for is for gouging their customers for money, because that's not true. They do make a lot of great stuff. It's just not for me. But it is known that they are not bigger than charging their customers for little to no reason. And before I get myself into a hole that I won't be able to get out from, Chris, do you want to speak about this Teamviewer stuff?
Yeah, so
because you're the only one out of us that uses Teamviewer, as far as I know.
I don't use it.
I'm not going to say my use case. But no.
We don't want to know. We don't want to know.
So, if anyone's heard of remote desktop clients and heard of just the whole phrase, you know that Google has their own, TeamViewer has their own.
If you know what remote desktop is, you know what this is.
They're everywhere. Now, one of the biggest third-party ones, to my knowledge, is TeamViewer. And this is mainly due to the fact that it has a free version and several paid versions. Most people use the free version, like myself. But there's been reports that hackers are hacking TeamViewer accounts, and if you're like me, you have computers allocated to an account, so whatever phone you pick up at the time, or whatever computer you have to hand, you can go through, so you don't have to put the ID and password, and it just makes life easier. Well, that's now coming at a cost. So they're being hacked, and of course, if your account gets hacked and you have a system online, you're basically asking for it's basically a massive data leak, because they have full control over your system, and they can, if they desire, put a block remote user input, I think is the term, and what it basically does is it renders your keyboard and attached mouse useless. The only way you are getting any control is on that remote client or ripping the power out. And one chap was unfortunate, but to have this happen, and he went downstairs, saw it, managed to kill it, and this is a bit that makes me laugh. I'll quote it: "I immediately go to the Teamviewer website and change my password, while also enabling two-factor authentication."
It should always be enabled. You should always have two-factor authentication enabled.
Especially for something like this, where you have saved there in that
Access to other people's computers?
Yes, and your own computers. I mean, I'm just going to quickly pop my window open. I've got a friend's laptop, both grandparents' computers, my neighbours, my mum's laptop, and someone else's laptop, plus my two.
See, now, Kurt, what we know about Chris is that he has access to all these computers, which means what he does is he logs into his mate's computers, opens up the dirtiest porn he can find, and sends a text to his mum saying, like, go look in your room.
Honestly, I was about to ring the police. I thought I was a hacker then. He's got loads of laptops he's got access to. I just thought, you know what, he's the hacker. Come on.
Well, no, what it was is where
he
my
is
old
actually
desk was.
anonymous. It's just Chris.
Where's your mask, Chris? Where's your mask?
I don't know what. See, if anyone's noticed, and I know Kurt picked up on this, no, that bed wasn't there before. That bed is where I am now, and there was a desk over there.
Yeah.
Long story short, it was quite a tight space.
There's a joke in there, but carry on.
Yes. And it was always difficult to have multiple laptops around.
You're not helping yourself here, Chris.
So I'm just going to go with it because I know it's going to get worse and I can't think of anything quick enough. So
again, this is getting... Oh my god, you're not helping anything here.
So my laptop was there, the monitor was there, and I had nowhere to put this laptop. So I used to... This sounds really dodgy. I used to put the laptop on the...
This is going to sound dodgy?
I used to put the laptop on the bed because the bed was like... I could reach out and touch it. And I
bet you could.
So I used to put the laptop there with power running to it, and I used to remote desktop it so I could sit at the comfort of my desk and still do the work, because a lot of the time it was just updates, and so generally wasn't. I've never had to deal with hardware issues.
I bet. Help you with protection.
Yeah, so I was using it, and I have got two-factor authenticator enabled, just because I do not want especially one of my grandparents, they do online banking.
Yep. He's ordering so many sex toys in your parents' bank account.
I know, I had to double check that makes sense, but I couldn't think of another word for it.
There isn't a better word for it, which makes it worse, really.
I almost feel bad for only the audio viewers of this podcast. But still, I think this comes across on audio quite well.
Yeah, look.
Let's just move on, because before this gets any worse. Kurt, do you want to speak about this one, or shall I?
No, it's about hardware, so... Anyway, let's recover from this one. Come on, I can't be in the gutter just yet. We've got 10 minutes left. Anyway, Pebble.
This last 45 or 48 minutes have gone so fast.
Yeah. So Pebble, you may have heard of them before. They're quite a popular company now. They've taken to Kickstarter yet again, which is sort of like their thing now, their niche, to announce.
I think just Kickstarter, they give them a massive discount.
Yeah.
Because they're giving Kickstarter so much publicity, they must give them a discount on their fees at the end.
Yeah, that's fair enough. They've announced 3 new devices, although it sounded like 4 at the time when I sort of read it and people were confused by it. We'll get to that. But anyway, there's a Pebble 2 and the Pebble Time 2, and the only real difference is what I can see is the Time 2 is the premium model of the 2 devices, and this one's got a bigger screen, I believe, has it?
Yeah, it's got a 53% bigger screen in the same body.
Yeah, okay, and it's got a better battery life than the Pebble Time 2. It's got 10 days as opposed to the Pebble 2, 7 days. The water resistance is exactly the same. They've both got microphones, they've both got heart rate monitors, they've both got activity tracking and things like that. The price difference is Not much really for me. I mean, you're getting a premium version of the Pebble watch, and you're getting quite a bit more from it, really, if you're a matter of battery life.
Mm.
So yeah, and you got three color options. You got the black, the silver, and the gold option, which I haven't decided which one I'm getting yet. So I might go for, I don't know.
I have like the dark grey time steel here, and if I get a time 2, I might just get the light silver.
But the silver one does look the best, actually.
I'm tempted to get gold and the red leather band, but I'm not sure I can pull that off.
Yeah.
I've seen one. It is a really.
You want a grey band, just straight up light grey.
No. I'm going full on red. But so no, yeah. Pretty much what they announced today is, or not announced today, from whatever it was. I think it was like just over a week ago.
About a week ago.
The update. Fuck's sake, Chris. They announced the update to what was the original Pebble, which they renamed the Pebble Classic. That is what the Pebble 2 is. So it's the sportier looking one. It's all plastic. It's now got Gorilla Glass instead of a plastic screen, which is so good because I have the original Pebble and it's scratched to shit.
My mum has the original Pebble and does still use it.
And is it scratched to shit, the screen?
No, because it wasn't brought at that time. It was brought when the Time 2 was out. So all she wanted it for was to read the text and just reply, okay.
I mean, lucky
so
that.
for 70 quid, well, I even got it actually for 50 quid.
Yeah, I think I paid about 40, 50 quid for mine.
So you couldn't really argue.
Yeah. So that's what the Pebble 2 is, and the Time 2 is pretty much what Kurt said. It's my Pebble with a bigger screen. It's roughly 50% bigger screen in the same body, so they got rid of the horrendous bezel, which, thank you, Pebble. They added a heart rate sensor, and that is pretty much about it. It's still got the 10-day battery life like my one has. Uses the same charger, which, thank God. Still has the equipped pins. Is still able to use the Pebble Smart Strap system. Like, super happy with all of that. The price is the interesting thing here. So the Pebble Time, when it came out, was super expensive. The Pebble Time, I think, was $199 and then $249 for the steel. You can get a Time 2 for $179 now. Or no. Sorry, Time 2, if you get the Kickstarter for $179 or $199 for when it actually launches, which for a better device for less money, everyone loves that.
Yeah, it's an early bird special, so it's if you get the early bird special, which is gone now, so you're out of luck. $169 for the Pebble Time 2. It's $179 at normal price, retail price.
Yeah. So do you want to speak about this last thing they announced, Kurt? Or
no, I'll talk about it. It's quite an interesting product, although it was confusing to start with. So the Pebble car.
If you look at the Kickstarter, there is actually they do 2 images, so
it's
making
two different things.
Things. Yeah, but they're not.
Yeah, so they've announced the Pebble core, which is sort of like a portable device for
it looks kind of like
purposes.
an iPod Touch.
Yeah, it's like an iPod Touch.
Not an iPod Touch. iPod Shuffle.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, because the iPod Shuffle didn't have a display. So yeah, there's the Pebble core for runners, which is like a ultra portable wearable device.
It's
obviously.
iPod Shuffle.
Yeah, it's an iPod Shuffle, but it's got Spotify.
It's an iPod Shuffle that runs Spotify.
And it's got 4 gig of onboard storage if you want to like put your music on there and things like that. So yeah, it's pretty good. And the hacker one, it's like the confusing thing was, like Dom said, they had 2 images of they look like different products. It had different colours to them. So it looked like different use cases. But I've looked into it and I sort of asked a few people, and they're both the same product. So. Yeah. You buy one car, you can either use it for running purposes, like going out and about, listening to Spotify, using the tracking and stuff like that, and the water resistance and things like that. And you can also use it for the 2-button sort of thing. I can't remember the hacker thing. It's got 2 customizable buttons, hasn't it? So you can sort of do things like that.
Track your pack, one-click Uber, unlock your car, record voice notes, turn off on unlock, SOS, location alerts. An open garage door, so it's going to be just something you throw in your keys and have it assign it attached. So, like the garage door, for instance, is a useful feature. You come up, driving away, bad impression there, and you just tap your keys.
If that's how you steer, Chris, you should never be allowed to operate a car.
I put it this way: I'm not currently allowed to operate a car.
Too young.
No, not. I just don't know the license.
So. the interesting thing for me is that the core is actually 3G connected.
Yeah, it's got connectivity options. It's got Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, and 3G connectivity. Yeah.
Yeah. So what it is this is essentially a teeny tiny Android computer, which is so interesting to me. You can pretty much do anything you can do on Android with this thing. It just doesn't have a screen. So like I said, you can have this as like a kind of SOS beacon. So if you're like out hiking and you're scared you might get lost, you can set up the button as like a beacon. It's like, oh shit, I'm lost. I don't know where I am. Like, if I stay here, press this button, someone will come find me soon. So if we're in like 127 hours sequence of events, by the way, if you've not seen that film, go see the film 127 Hours. That's like a really deep cut, actually. How old is that film? God.
That is,
it's got to be like a decade.
It seems like a long time ago, doesn't it?
I feel old.
You are old.
Shut up, Chris.
I know I can't say that.
I agree.
Kurt, you're like my age.
No,
Well,
not.
I had Kurt as older as you.
Anyway, all of this is super interesting, but kind of the slightly more interesting thing to me is they only asked for $1 million, which we knew they'd get.
We knew that anyway.
Whatever.
Come on, they set the threshold so low, so because
we knew it. They knew it. They are currently 1,040% funded. They have 10,404,400. Sorry, 10,040,000. So.
You want to start again?
Yeah, 10,404,436. It just went up as I was reading it. Like,
Yeah, they're still getting back.
Just want to go out number by number and say where the commas are and tell people to get a bit of pen and paper and write and just say, listen to me,
like,
right what I write.
That'd be great if it didn't keep going up whilst I was trying to say it. 10,404,446.
There we go.
$36.
It's 531 now.
With 23 days left. Like, this is insane. There's 54,672 backers. It's just gone up again. 54,674 backers with 10,404,710. Like,
we could be here all night, you know. We've got an hour. Well, we don't even got an hour. We've got 3 minutes left. So.
This stuff is... I mean, like, Kurt's backed the Time 2. I want to back the Time 2. I have a couple of friends I think would be interested in the core. Actually, there's something about the core we didn't even say. It has Alexa support.
It's got Alexa support, which is Amazon's home.
If you're in the US and you have access to Amazon Alexa or Amazon Echo with Alexa, you can use the internet connection on the core to utilize Alexa. So when you're running, you can say, Alexa, how long have I run? And it will say, you've been running.
How long have I
3
run?
miles.
It's how long have I ran?
I swear to God, Chris, I'll punch you. Alexa, tell me a shitty joke, and then you can you can tell it these things, and it will like answer you. Like, that is
Chris's
great.
life.
Yeah, like this would be, I think, the cheapest way to get into the Alexa ecosystem, because after this, the cheapest one is the $90 Amazon Echo Dot. So yeah, these aren't going to come out for a while. I think like fourth quarter of this year is when we're expecting to come out.
Yeah, it's the ship on November 6, 2016, but obviously November the Time 2, September the Pebble 2.
Yeah, so as I said, I'll probably end up buying a Time 2. I mean, in November, this will be a year old.
It's worth noting as well that the car ships first quarter of next year, so Jan 2017 it ships.
Yeah, the core is going to take a little bit longer because of they're aiming to do a lot more with the core.
Well, Alexa is a massive feat as well. I mean, that's why.
Yeah, no, because the Alexa wasn't announced at launch. It was like a week after.
Yeah.
And they said, oh, by the way, the core does Alexa.
Which is quite big news, actually.
It's huge news. All right, who wants to speak about this on a VR launch event?
Yeah,
I really don't want to.
So, I'll do it. So I can make it quick. So
anti-dibs. That's what that is. That is anti-dibs.
So if anybody remembers the OnePlus 2 launch, that was done in VR. They basically took you around a tour of the office, took you into a room, uh, did some like little presentation on a 40-inch-ish TV, and then he got his mum to call him, how cliche, and showed off the device. Well, Honor are set to do the same, really. All we know is there's an Honor VR event scheduled for June 20th, and it's at 2 p.m. I'm not sure which time this is, but the bit that I find interesting is it says next to it in small text and in brackets approximately 20 minutes. So
I'm
it's
not gonna
good.
lie, as someone who's been to press events, the shorter the press event, the way better I feel.
Yeah, so it's going to be
Most
interesting to
Rona
see what it
super
is.
good at short press events, and then when I go to say like an Honor one that is 45 minutes to an hour, and it's like, thank you for having a free bar, but you should not have an event that makes me want a free bar.
Yeah, no, so
Which is genuinely something I said to Wilkin at one point, so whatever.
yeah, so take that as a grain of salt. Something's coming. It's happening in VR. So grab your Google Cardboard.
Yeah, I kind of wonder if they're going to do what they've done the last couple of times, which is the flagship Honor device is an ever so slightly tweaked version of the flagship Huawei device. So the Honor, let's call it the Honor 8, it's just a tweaked version of the Huawei P9. If that's true, I'd be totally fine with it because I really loved the Huawei P9, and I also really liked. Huh?
Did you enjoy its monochrome camera?
Oh, without a shadow of a doubt, it had a phenomenal camera.
Go to Tom's Instagram account and you'll see that he had a whale of a time with that camera.
At mobile_Dom, by the way, just self-plug. Also, go to the Huawei P9 review on MobileTechTalk. There's actually two of them. I reviewed it, and so did Greg.
Did he?
Yeah, he did. We both got one separately, and then we announced the merger, and it was like, oh shit, we've got two of the same devices.
Oh, Kurt and Mark had that with the G5.
The G5, yeah.
Yeah, I think Greg maybe posted his a day or two before I did. Yeah, we were kind of in the same boat, but like we didn't speak about it. We just kind of both posted it, whereas like Kurt and Mark actually had like proper conversations about it. So yeah, I kind of hope they do the whole Honor 8 is not a wash down, but like a sidestep version of the flagship Huawei device, because if the Honor 8 it is essentially a Huawei P9, that'll be super hard not to buy.
Well, especially with the demographic of Honor, where they sort of make them really, really cheap as well. We'll probably keep that trend going, so it'll be hard. It'd be sort of like OnePlus and Honor sort of going against each other for the cheapest, best premium device, wouldn't it, really?
Yeah. Speaking of OnePlus, we've seen the newest version of the OnePlus phone, the OnePlus 3, leak because of what I think is called Tenaa, T-E-N-A-A.
I'm calling it Tina for some reason.
I genuinely have no idea how it's meant to be pronounced. It's the China's version of the FCC, I believe.
Oh,
so
okay.
You have to like take photographs, gives all the measurements, all the radiation stuff. So because of that, we now know exactly what it looks like. We know all the internals. So it's a Snapdragon 820, 4 or 6 gigs of RAM, 64 gigs of storage, 5.5-inch Full HD AMOLED display, which is important. 3,000 mAh battery, which is smaller than last year's, 16-megapixel rear camera, 152.6mm tall, 74.7mm wide, and 7.3mm thick, 160 grams, light grey, black, or gold in color. Oh my god, that's a lot to do in one breath. It looks ugly as fuck. I'm just gonna come out and say it.
It looks like a sort
of.
It
looks like someone mixed the OnePlus 2 with the Huawei P9. But it's like the worst parts of both the designs.
I'm not sure about the rounded fingerprint sensor on the front. I prefer the rectangular one on the OnePlus 2.
I mean, it's pretty much the same sensor as they've just changed the cover glass, really.
I hope it's faster because the OnePlus 2 sensor wasn't that great, from what I can recall. It wasn't a great sensor.
From what I remember, and I had very limited access to the OnePlus 2, I think I only had it for like 2 or 3 days. Speed, great. Accuracy was its real problem.
Yeah, you have to
From what I understand, the Marshmallow update fixes a lot of things. It's no longer using the OnePlus API. It's using the Marshmallow API.
That's good then. Good
So
start.
I kind of wish I had a OnePlus 2 to hand to test the Marshmallow update, but my OnePlus X hasn't got a fingerprint sensor or Marshmallow. But what do you two think about the OnePlus 3? Are either of you interested all that much?
I've not tried any of the OnePlus devices. I've seen the one. I had a couple of people that had the OnePlus One.
Yeah, I mean, I've got the OnePlus X here.
I'd want to try the OnePlus line. I did consider buying a OnePlus 2. If you read the editorial I did of I brought a new phone, here's why. It'll mention what I looked at. I did look at the OnePlus 2. I'd like to really try them all in ascending order, so that you could write an editorial piece on that. It's just tracking down people with OnePlus 1s and OnePlus 2s that would be kind enough to let me borrow. I don't know anybody that still has them.
I mean, Craig's got a OnePlus One.
I know Craig's got the OnePlus One.
Craig's got the OnePlus One. I've got the OnePlus X. No one we know has got a OnePlus 2.
Nobody I know. And I
Also,
don't.
like, OnePlus PR will not send me a OnePlus 2. Which,
Who wants to anybody review units unless you're really big? That's one thing that pisses me off about OnePlus.
yeah, so once I come into a fair amount of cash, because OnePlus 2 has just essentially no resale value whatsoever. Like, luckily for me, unfortunately for OnePlus, they have almost no resale value, so you can pick up a OnePlus 2 super cheap on, like, eBay. So I'll probably pick up a OnePlus 2 on eBay, update it to Marshmallow, and then see how it does compared to my prior.
I remember looking at the OnePlus One, like, in person and thinking, that's big. Like,
Yeah.
I'd seen big phones, but that just seemed monstrous.
It is. It, like, to this day, it still looks huge because it's very angular. I mean, a friend of mine that was just left before we started the podcast, he has a OnePlus One in the sandstone, not the sandstone, the eggshell white one or silk white. It just looks massive. Even like, I'm using the Oppo F1 Plus at the moment, which is also a 5-inch phone, but the Oppo looks way smaller.
5 what was that?
5.
Oh, so not the 5.96 of the Nexus 6P.
No, the 6P is 5.7.
Why did I read it was 5.96?
That's the Nexus 6. No, the Nexus 6 is 5.96. The Galaxy Mega is 6.4.
That's something I'd like to try.
No, wait a second. The Mega is 6.7,
isn't it?
No, the Mega is 6.2, and the Xperia Z Ultra is 6.44.
Those are tablets. Those aren't smartphones. Those are used purely for tablets.
6-inch and upwards is tablet. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it is a tablet. I mean, you're getting close to Nexus 7 territory there, which is a tablet and sold as a tablet.
I mean, I'm very tempted to buy my mum the new 6.8-inch Asus Zenfone 3 for her next phone. Because she's got a 5.5-inch Idol 3, and she's like, man, if only this was a bit bigger. And I'm like, you literally just need a tablet that makes phone calls. So I think I might just buy the Zenfone 3 Ultra or whatever it's called. So, that is the end of the news. The news. Do you want to speak about this topic, or should we just jump up to our upcoming posts? It is up to you guys. I will leave it to you.
I can leave that for next week if you want. It's up to you.
Yeah, I can leave that for. I'll stick a comment on that to remind for next week.
Cool.
How do you?
Right, so Chris, next week I'll cycle you out for Mark, if that's okay.
Yeah.
I kind of, when we merged MobileTechTalk and EuroTechTalk, I kind of promised Kurt he'd like cycle on each week and off, and that's like just so much shit has happened. We forgot to do that. So yeah, no, next week it'll be me, Mark, and Kurt, and we'll
unless anything changes.
Yeah, unless something changes. So we'll do this topic at the beginning of next week's. So upcoming posts.
There's a lot.
There is a lot. I have the Oppo F1 Plus review going up next week. About 2 weeks after that, I have the OnePlus X review going up. Chris has a gazillion things coming up.
No,
Kurt
these aren't
also
all
has
mine.
a gazillion things going up.
Kurt,
do you want to say what you've got going up first?
I only have one thing going up next week, and that
Which
is the iQi, I'm guessing it's called, because that's how it's pronounced Qi, power case by Phone Salesman, which is a...
Ooh, it might be itchy, like, oh my god, I've
Itchy.
got itchy nose.
which would be bad marketing techniques from them at all. Yeah, it'd be great. But yeah, it's a wireless charging case with an inbuilt battery, basically. So
it's a Mophie with a wireless charging coil.
yes, and it's shit, but we'll
leave it there.
Yeah, you can see how shit it is in the review coming up soon. So yeah.
Good to know. So Chris, what have you got coming up?
I've got, and I did buy this with my own money. So it's the SJ Cam SJ4000, and as you can tell, it's basically a little action camera.
Is it 4,000 or 400?
4,000. Look, does it say 4,000? And
yeah, you put 400 in the notes, so I was just confused.
I always get. I keep doing that.
Ignore it. Carry on speaking.
So I brought this to slap onto my helmet, just so if anyone kind of took me off, I could, if it was their fault, I could prove it was their fault. Works brilliantly. I filter now, which is something I never did before. Great little camera, only costs about 60 quid, and my God, do you not half get a ton of stuff in the box. Unfortunately, I was the yob at the time, just got the box open, got the bits I needed, and mounted it. So I've spoken to a chap, a reviewer, and I have had permission to use a screenshot out of his video, so that will be in. And if you just look at it when the review goes, there's a lot, like more than needed, but very nice to have. Mm-hmm. So I've got 2.25 hours tomorrow at college where I'm not doing anything, so that'll be drafted, should be checked, it should be up by the end of the week, depending how many other people can get posts up before me.
Cool. So we also have Mark's LG G5 second opinion review, because Kurt, you did our main review, didn't you?
Yes, correct.
Which was a fantastic review, and you should all go and read it. I genuinely enjoyed reading it. I read most of the iterations of that review.
I think Mark's barking up the same tree as well.
Yeah, Kurt, do you want to just quickly give a one-sentence review on your thoughts on the device?
One word.
It's great. One word, okay. Modular, if you want to go with one word.
One word.
It's great. It's just the modular and build quality need to be worked on if we want to get anywhere close to getting Samsung off the top spot. Basically, it's not going to win any awards for its design.
From what I hear, the build quality and stuff issues were only really an issue with review samples. So I was like, well, that doesn't make it any better, because all the review samples are going to reviewers who are going to slate it for bad review.
People won't buy it.
Yourself here. Yeah.
Yes. Make them good for your review units. Don't just make them good for the consumer. I mean, it doesn't make any sense.
I never understood making reviewers use pre-production hardware or software, because if the reviews are going out, you're going to have poor reviews because it's pre-production hardware and software.
Yeah. It's
like all the early OnePlus 2 stuff where it didn't have great camera firmware and stuff like that. You're not helping yourself in any way, shape, or form. So Craig has the Stormtrooper Bluetooth speakers, I believe.
Yeah, it does. It's a speaker. It's a Bluetooth speaker that's basically shoved inside of a small Stormtrooper helmet, and it does look nice. But I think that's as far as he said it goes. Don't quote me. He said it looked nice. It sounds meh. I think was the word.
You guys can read the review.
When it goes live.
Mark has put up the PMV A-01 review, which are a pair of headphones. And I don't know who's got the Riva Turbo X. I'm assuming that's Mark, but I don't know.
I think that's Craig.
Yeah, Craig's got that one.
Craig's got that one? Okay. You mean you guys have been paying more attention than I have, apparently.
I only know because I quickly went to the dashboard to have a look to write everything down.
Anyway, so that is it. Thank you for joining us for episode 26 of Talking Tech. I am your host, Dom. I am at mobile_Dom on Twitter. Chris is at ChrisWallace959, and Kurt is at NitroZK, or ZK, I should say.
We've changed it now. It's not Nitro.
Changed it?
Yeah.
Did you not read the top half of the...
It's
what
just
is it now? It's just Kurt
Colbeck now, yeah.
God damn it, Kurt. You change it like every 2 months.
If you read the document, Dom, don't just
Yeah,
blame
don't
me.
assume. Yeah, I don't make the documents just for the jokes.
I can ban both of you from this podcast.
Well, it's a job. It's ending then, isn't it? So it doesn't matter.
I am at mobile_dom. Chris is at ChrisWallace959, and Kurt is at Kurt Colbeck. So you can get the site at mttfeed. We are www.mobiletechtalk.co.uk. Search us on Instagram. We are MobileTechTalk. On Facebook, we are MobileTechTalk UK. YouTube and Google Plus. Just search for MobileTechTalk because they won't give us custom URLs yet. And last but not least, our Patreon, patreon.com/MobileTechTalk. We are ramping up our Patreon stuff soon enough once we've done the merger and everything. So if you give us money, we can make better content for you. Hashtag content, hashtag brands, hashtag I hate myself.
Hashtag no filter.
Hashtag no filter. Hashtag cat today. All these hashtags. Anyway, I've been Dom. These guys have been Chris and Kat.
You nearly said Mark then, didn't you?
I nearly said Mark. I'm so tired. I'm running on autopilot. From all of us three, thank you very much, and we'll see you next week. Goodbye.
See you later.
Toodles.